Constructors allow us to run some code right when we make an object. So you can think of when we make an instance, we might want to initialize that instance or just do some general code on the instance right when we create it. You might want to print out, hey, I just created something, or you might want to actually pass in some values into this instance of the class right at the part of creation of the object. So for example, if you have a bank account and you are making that bank account for the very first time, you might already have an idea of what the name of your bank account is, or you might have an idea of how much money is in your bank account because you might, right when you make it, put some money in there. So you might want to initialize those values, those attributes for name and amount. You might want to do that right when you make the object. So constructors allow us to do that. You can have as many constructors as you want, but each of them has to be different based on the parameters and the types of the parameters so that you know which one's which and which one to use. Now, the name of your constructor has to be the same name as your class, and there are no return types for your constructors. So this might not make a lot of sense up to you actually see a constructor. So here is an example. On the left side, bear with me, there's a lot of code, but this is our bank account class. And on the right side, we have another main class where we're just going to have our main method. And within our main method, we're going to make 3 bank accounts. So we have Alex's bank account, Christina's bank account, and Stacy's bank account. Now on the left side, you'll see the same attributes that we've seen before and our same methods that we've seen before, but these 3 are our constructors. Notice a constructor has an access modifier, the name, which has to match the class, parentheses, and in those parentheses you can have parameters. Remember that parameters have to be different in all of these. And then of course our curly braces where the code's going to be. This is an empty constructor. So this is saying if you don't pass in any parameters, don't do anything. Now, if you don't want to have these other constructors, that's totally fine. You don't have to have any constructors at all. Java will just know that when you make a new object, when you make a new instance of bank account, just don't do anything if you don't put any constructors. Now, if you have these bank accounts here, notice how we have new bank account, and new bank account. So this is actually calling the constructor. So in this first case, we're calling the empty constructor. It's going to match with the empty one because we don't have parameters. It's going to jump in here and do absolutely nothing. Now, when we make Christina's bank account, let's say, hey, I want to set the name of Christina's bank account at the very beginning. Right when I create the bank account, I want to know that this is Christina's bank account and save her name in there. So what we could do is pass in as a parameter Christina. Now, Java's going to look at this and say, find me a constructor that takes in one parameter and that parameter is of type string. So it's going to look in here and it's going to find that there is one here. This is public bank account and it takes in one parameter and it is a string. So this value Christina is going to be passed in as a parameter and we know it's going to be saved as account name, so we can use account name, and account name will have the value Christina. So when we go in here and we say name equals Christina, what we're actually doing is setting name to be Christina. So this, for this instance of Christina bank account, is going to have the name Christina stored away already at the very beginning when we first make Christina's bank account. So you won't need a method here that says set Christina's bank account for Christina because you already set it. But in the case of Alex's bank account, at this point, we never set Alex's name on his bank account. So right now, Alex's bank account, you don't even know the name of it if you were to try to get the name. So you would need some more methods here to set it and get it later if you wanted to. But this gives you the option to set it from the very beginning. That's what the constructor is. Now for Stacy's bank account, we have new bank account, Stacy, then you have a number and another number. So this is going to try to find a constructor again that matches. We have a string and then we have 2 ints. So you will see that we will get to this one, string account number, int account number, and double current balance. Now 300 can also be considered a double number, so it'll match here fine. It'll just take it in as 300.0 here. So we will jump into this code and we will set account name to Stacy, account number to all of these numbers here, and amount to 300, as you can see. So this is how we use constructors. Of course, we could have more constructors. We could do different things. We don't just have to set things here. We can just print out a statement that says, hey, you just made a new bank account, or whatever you want, really. This is just the code that's going to happen when we first create our objects.